We already built a registration page where new users can register, providing a username, password, and some email information. Let's now focus on creating a login page where returning users can identify themselves. So let's go to the page that implements the login page. So here it is. Right now it's just empty, it just has a login page. So in here we're going to declare a couple of input fields and a couple of variables in here. We'll call them maybe user dot username. Let's make this use form control. That's a bootstrap class. Maybe we'll give it a placeholder. Let's say that we're asking them for a username. And so I could do a couple more. ng model. We'll say password. Again, this is phone control. And the placeholder here is a password, and the type is also password. And then maybe a button here. Notify the controller. Say ng click. So that this will be to go to the controller and say controller dot login, and we'll pass the user information. And this is a button with class, maybe, and primary, and also block, meaning take up the entire width of the screen, and with a login text. There we go. Let's see, and so if we reload that login, there we go. We have a username, password, login. Now what we need is a control to go along with this. So in here, in that same place where the view is, we're going to create another file called login control. Yes, and in here we'll say that we want function. And here we'll say Angular module. We'll call it. It's called whiteboard. And we're going to create a controller called login controller, implemented by a function of the same name. So function, and we're going to create our view model. This is this, and we're going to create an event handler that listens for incoming login events, right? That it passes in the login information. And login function, which implements down here and accepts the user. That user is going to be sent over to the server through a user service that doesn't exist yet. It's also login. We're going to pass the user information, and we're going to take the response from the server and just echo it for now. We're just going to say console log response to the server. We're going to need that user service here. So user service, and that user service that we used earlier, we're going to add that login function in there. So let's go into the user service we wrote earlier. There it is. Before we just had the create user API in there. So let's add here login. Login, maybe we'll call it also user, login user. Maybe that's better than login user. Let's rename all the controller. Login. So in here, we create a function for that. So we'll say function login user. Pass the user permission, and we'll find the callback. So in here, we're going to post that to the server. Post it to maybe REST login, and we'll pass the user information as a JSON object. And then we'll notify the client when it's done. So now we have to go to the server and actually implement that login at that URL. We'll get the server, and what we'll do is we'll say, we'll do post, right? So let's create a post right here. Post, and it's going to listen for a REST login, and it's going to receive the new user in the request. And so var user is in the request, the body of the request. What we'll do is that we'll look up the user, find one that matches the username in the user.username, and matches also like the password, it matches also the user's password. Passing there, right? And if it's successful, it'll notify us with the existing user, so with the found user. So found the user. So what we'll do is that if the user exists, we'll reply with whatever it's found, right? So if it's null, we'll reply with null or whatever it's in there, right? So we'll reply with found user. Then in the login, what we can do is that here's the response, right? If the response is null, right, then we're not going to do anything. We're just going to ignore it, perhaps, right? But otherwise, if it's not null, then that means that it was successful. Then what we'll do is that we're going to use the same location server service, right? Back in here. If it's not null, then we're going to say location. Then we do want to go to the same profile, right? That's a profile, and we also want to store the user in the current root scope, right? So root scope current user equals the response, right? And root scope, we need to declare it here in the controller. Right? So we'll say, there we go. And if we navigate to the profile, it should display the user, the current user. So let's restart the server. Let's now refresh the login page, and I believe we have an Edward in there. Same password. So let's do login. That didn't work. So first we need to, I think we forgot to include this new login control that we created in the index, I believe. So that's, did we do that? No, we didn't. Okay, so let's add that controller here. So we'll say script source login for the script. Also, when we declared in configuration, we never did tell it that that page now it's not just a view, but there's also a control that controls that particular page. So that's the control for this page is the login controller, and the alias that we're going to give it locally is controller, and that's going to be what we refer to it in the HTML, right? Anyway, so let's refresh. Let's see. Let's see what the network is. Oops, something is missing. It's missing. login controller. Do we name it correctly? It's called inside login controller. What do we call it? An index. We called it. Oh, it's login. So this is what do we have as a database? We're Frank, Dan. Let's try Dan. Dan. Okay, looks like it worked. So there we go. So we were able to create a login page that successfully logs in and navigates to the profile. Very good.